Welcome to this episode of the Left Behind Game Club. This week we play through Guacamelee, and one of us was really nitpicky about the wrestling moves that we wanted to see in the game.
If one of the moves was like stand in front of the guy, swing your arms around, take your elbow pad off, go to each rope and drop at people's elbow, I would have been the biggest supporter of this game. I would have had it in every bio of my social media profiles. But yeah, no, it was playful. It was too like cartoony.
You're listening to the Left Behind Game Club.
Welcome to the Left Behind Game Club, our never-ending attempt to make sure that no game is left behind. I'm your host, Chicken McCourt, and with me today, two friends. Friend number one is Michael Ruffolo.
Howdy ho, neighborino.
And friend number two is doing some kind of dance with his arms. It's Murtadi.
Arigato
gozaimashita.
And today we're playing Guacamelee, which is a game that came out in 2013. Who wants to kind of walk us through what this game's about?
So, I'll take a crack at it.
Great. We can do it together.
Yes, it's a Metroidvania-style platformer with a fantastic combo system with the aesthetic of a lucha libre wrestlers and Day of the Dead. And so you play as a average man who becomes a luchador, trying to save the pretty president's daughter of the area that you're in, and I assume Mexico. And you shift and gain you shift between the world of the living and the world of the dead, and you gain different powers as you progress through the game. Go back to past sections that you had previously completed, unlock new areas with those new powers, until you get to the very end of the game and defeat the final baddie.
And his name is?
Calaca.
So essentially, it's a very pretty looking Mario platformer.
It looks real good.
Yeah, it looks real good.
But not Mario platformer. It's like Metroid.
It is a Metroidvania game. How did you play the game, and what's your experience with the title? We'll start with Mike.
So I had never played it before, but I remember when it came out. It looked fantastic. I really wanted to play it. I played it on the Xbox One, and I believe I got it free, Games with Gold, the first month that I bought my Xbox One. I think it was one of the things that pushed me over the edge to buy it, because I figured I was getting these free games. I might as well bank them and then play them at some point, which I'm so glad I did. Mo, what was your experience?
I played it on Steam. I think Jacob gave me a free code. Is it right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he had one of those extra codes because he just hoards games.
I do.
And he's like, "Hey Mo, we're thinking about playing this game," which I knew nothing about when you guys brought it up. I just was like, "Oh, okay, sure." It looked really good. I was hesitant because it's a platformer. I'm not a huge fan of platformers ever. But I said, let's give it a shot because it looks pretty sweet with like the 2D art style, the bam bam comic book action shots.
And this is the second time that I played through the game. I played it first on PC when the Guacamelee Gold version came out. So there's three versions of the game. There's Guacamelee, there's Guacamelee Gold, and there's Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition.
That's the one I played.
That's the one. That is the one I played as well. And is that the one you played?
Gold Edition? What? No. Guacamelee
Super Turbo Championship
That's
Edition.
A mouthful.
I don't think I played that one. I think I played Gold or Championship Edition. Something like that. Something not as crazy and exciting. Wait, what's the game called, Michael?
Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition.
Say that 3 times fast.
Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition.
Jacob,
Super Turbo Championship Edition.
What's the game
Super
called?
Turbo Championship Edition.
Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition.
Okay.
Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition. Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition.
So the reason why I even ask, I'm the only one that's going to continuously and forever know it as Guacamelee.
Ooh.
And that's why when you first said it, I'm like, wait, did Michael say it that way? And you say Guacamelee, like en français or something.
No, because I say the word like it's what is
Smash
the second?
Game. Yeah, what is the second
Smash Brothers game called?
Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Ugh, that hurts.
No.
So when you press the B button in a traditional shooter, are you melee striking them, or are you melee striking them?
Oh, shoot, because I would say
Busted.
melee.
I say melee.
Oh, yeah. It's a nice correction to try to stay on course.
Honestly, I say melee.
I ain't a liar, so I would say, like, you melee them.
And guess what you're doing in this game? Meleeing the crap out of every single person you're coming up against.
It's true.
You're welcome. Continue.
So can we settle on a nomenclature for this game, though?
It's a bison, I swear.
God. I got a lot of heck for that in our last episode for Virginia. We couldn't decide if it was a buffalo, a bison, or a bull. I digress. If you want to see that fight, you can listen to that at leftbehindgame.club. But getting into this game, I just want to mention there are 3 versions of the game. The base game came out in 2013 for PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita. A year later, I believe it came out for PC, Mac, Linux as well, and that was the gold edition. And then they released it a year later on everything as the Super Turbo Championship edition.
Very cool.
You know what's pretty cool I found out afterwards, just doing like a little bit of research. Apparently, if you bought the PS3 version, you get the Vita version for free, and vice versa. If you get the Vita version, and it had cross-save. So if you're playing on Vita and like you're paused somewhere, you pick it up on the PS3, you continue from that spot and vice versa.
It's very nice.
Yeah, and I'm like, why wasn't the Vita hyped here, man? Like no one really.
You know what I did when I found out we were going to play this game? I grabbed my Vita.
You have
to
a
see
Vita?
if I have a Vita, yeah. Surprise! Do you have a Vita?
No.
I have a Vita. I bought it from a guy actually around the corner from where we're recording this for $100 about 2 years ago.
That's a good deal.
Amazing.
And I believe I've only played Hotline Miami on it.
That's a great game.
That is a great game, but that's all I've played on it.
I love that game.
I'm like, I'm going to play Persona 4 Golden on this Vita.
Whoa, you
But I
play
didn't.
Persona?
I didn't play for. I'm a little intimidated by it. But to get
Look
back
at
on
Jacob.
track,
You know he loves that Shin
Vita.
Megami Tensei stuff.
Vita. I wanted to play it on Vita, but I didn't have it. I had it on PS4 only. So
Can you still buy games for the Vita?
Man, the Vita's still hype in Japan.
It's still hype.
Still hype.
Still the hype beasts. Everyone, all the hype beasts, they want it. It's their favorite accessory.
So I'm not a full-time weeb, but I consider myself like 25% weeaboo. They play that.
what? What did you say?
Oh, I think I'm using terms that are
Weeaboo.
beyond. Yeah.
Weeaboo.
People, you know, those like people that are so obsessed with like Japanese culture.
Waifus?
Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
No.
What's that?
It's
What is
waifu is a anime girl that you want to wife.
Oh no!
Oh, that's what that means.
That's the waifu.
Is that
Okay.
seriously what that means?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, well,
Essentially,
anyways,
there's more nuance. But
yeah,
yeah,
just people that are like obsessed with Japanese culture that are not really Japanese. That's I think it's a term. And
like you want to go to Akihabara,
and to
you want to go to
save you-
Super Potato, you want to buy all the games.
And to save you as well, I just learned about this term like maybe a year ago. Once I started my journey in Naruto, someone told me, "Oh, it's such a weeb thing to do." I'm like, I'm okay with that. Anyway, so the reason
Are
I
you
say
saying dweeb or weeb?
that weeb,
Okay.
that's like the
short
verb.
for weeaboo.
Yeah. So, anyways, it sounds.
Kakugajin.
You know what's funny? I'm seeing it from the outside in because that's how I was when someone explained it to me. I'm like, "What? You're lying. This isn't a thing." And it's a thing. So, anyways, the Vita still has a bunch of Japanese titles that are released for it. I could be wrong as of like to this date, but it's not big in North America apparently, but in Japan, that's where everyone played their mobile gaming.
The Vita's an okay system.
It's a PS3 in your hand.
I wanted to play this game on Vita first.
It's a PS3 in your hand.
And the screen's nice. It's a nice OLED screen. I got the PS Vita 1000, not the 2000.
You know this new console that just came out called the Switch?
What's that? The Switch.
It literally, the Vita is a Switch without the crappy handles, the controls.
The Joy-Cons.
The handles, the controls.
Okay.
So Guacamelee is a video
Fantastic
game.
game.
It's a good game.
I've heard rumors that it might be coming to the Switch.
Ooh.
We'll see. But Guacamelee 2 is coming out
That's a PS4 exclusive.
in the spring and summer of 2018, so it's coming up. I'm very excited after playing this. We should probably talk about why I'm excited.
Yeah, I'll just set it up a little bit more. Drinkbox
Okay.
has made a few other games, Tales from Space about a blob, Tales from Space Mutant Blobs Attack, as well as Severed, which I believe has only come out on mobile and Nintendo platforms with a touchscreen. But they all have a similar aesthetic to it. How would you describe that aesthetic?
So I would describe it as cartoon. It's definitely a 2D aesthetic. Very colorful. Very, I would say, sharp lines. Almost as if people were cut out of like cardboard or something, or cut out of
Construction paper?
Construction paper, but I think that might give more of a South Park vibe than I want. So maybe not that.
It's like watercolored almost.
Yeah,
kind of.
I love
but
the
there are
aesthetic
sharp
of
lines.
it. I don't know what words to use to describe it too well, but I do love the look of it.
Yeah, it's like bold 2D Wind Waker art
Yeah, two-dimensional Wind Waker
style. So it's sharp.
HD.
Yeah, even like
Do
the
you
characters.
like
look
Toon Link?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 2D Toon Link, but like sharper colors, like bright reds, bright greens, yellows. Like environments are a little bit duller, but like the characters and things you're doing are sharp colors.
Take
Not
a
quite
pinata,
yeah.
and those colors are
Yes.
throughout the game. There
Not
you go.
quite cell shaded, but definitely shaded.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you start out the game, and you are an agave farmer, and you're basically like, and what is the character's name?
Juan, the Spanish word for avocado.
Who, by
Juan
the way,
Aguacate?
Aguacate.
Yeah.
Aguacate?
Yes, my Spanish is horrible.
So is mine.
you're this like measly little farmer, but he's jacked.
He's a big boy.
And they're making fun of him. Like, oh, you're
Yeah.
not a luchador. Like, this
You've
guy
got
can
nothing
bench
going
press.
for you in life
Yeah.
except that you're ripped.
Yeah, he's a big boy, and you're like, how is he not a luchador? And then, sure enough, you trot along, you see a bad guy, and he's like, hey, I'm stealing this princess. Snags her away.
Sounds
And-
just like Calaca.
Yeah, exactly. And then you go into a fight with him, and you just kind of black out. You're in.
He kills you, right?
Is that what you thought of
Or he
it?
brings you to the world of the dead.
I thought of it like he destroyed the world initially, and like now you're in like the destroyed world when I first like was playing it, and then you don't know what's going on because you're just defeated, and then conveniently you start walking and you see a giant statue with a mask on it, and you're like, hey, I'm gonna put this on.
It was like The Mask.
Yeah,
Yo.
Yeah, very similar to the plot of The Mask.
Didn't even think of that.
Here's this ancient Loki mask. Put it on your face, Jim Carrey.
I love the mask.
It's a great movie.
Back on topic, though.
Mhm.
yeah. Put on that mask, and wham, bam, bam. You skip all that wrestling school. You skip all of the
You
workouts
just know
you
to
have to do.
suplex.
You become a wrestler with the fists of fury.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like one of the things I like about the game too is like whenever like anything is like taught, whenever you're getting a new skill or when you get the mask, it's like a big like hurrah, like you're now this, bam, colors, flash, text.
Mm-hmm.
I liked getting visual rewards from this game early on.
Mm-hmm. Juan and Tostada, who is your female accompanist,
Okay,
the
Partner.
person you're with,
Question.
partner. Thanks, words.
was she explained? Because I might have been susceptible to not reading anything.
I did not see anywhere that she was explained.
So it's just another character, right?
Yeah,
That you
so
can
this
switch to.
This game was, from what I understand, it's designed to play co-op, couch co-op, with someone alongside you, where one person plays Juan and the other person plays Tostada. But I played through the entire game as Juan, with his many different costumes. I assume you guys did as well.
I used Tostada early on, like when you get the ability to switch, just to kind of see like what her thing was. But I mostly stayed with Juan for the health benefits.
Does she have less health?
Yeah, she does, I think, like a little bit more damage, but she takes a little bit more damage.
Okay.
I don't know what the actual number is or anything, like if there's a multiplier, but I'm pretty sure because she does more damage. Like it's less attacks per person, and I found that out like when I went through a little bit of a walkthrough. That helped me through some portions, and but yeah, essentially, yeah, she helps. She's extra strong, but she also takes more damage.
I think when I was going through the game, I didn't realize that there were costumes that gave you benefits until much later in the game.
Ah.
So I was like, why am I collecting all this silver? What's this for? And then just realized there's a costume menu with some costumes that actually give you benefits. They take stuff away too, but
There's always a
sometimes it's
trade-off.
worth it. Yeah, great trade-offs.
Yeah,
It's like, hey, you're going to be really weak, but you're going to make so much more money.
that's all I did. Okay, I want to talk about my strategy.
Okay.
I played almost the whole game with the suit that gives you a ton of extra money until I got to the end game, and then I was like, well, now it's time to play with the fun stuff. So at the end game, I played with the devil suit, which gives you much less health, but when you hit someone, you leech the health from them, and I think you get a stamina boost. And then I ended up finishing the game with the yellow chicken suit, which gives you much slower stamina, I think,
I want to talk about
but health regen. It was pretty good.
Talking about the chickens, there are lots of homages to other games in this game, right?
So many.
Mm-hmm. You want to talk about the chickens, Mel?
I don't know what homages you're referring to, but it
Come
just,
on.
Uh-oh.
The chickens? The chickens.
I don't even think I know.
Legend of Zelda?
I didn't pick up on
Ocarina of
it.
Time.
I mean, I know there's chickens.
When
in the game.
you hit the chickens,
What about them?
so when you hit the chickens in this game, much like in the Legend of Zelda games, when you hit them, they turn red and they rage. Now they don't go after you like in Legend of Zelda, but they do rage and turn red just like in Legend of Zelda.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like it was almost like Metroid. Like when you become a chicken, you can fit into a lot of tight space and just spin around and keep going like a berserker.
That's so good. I didn't even think that the chicken
Neither
form
did I.
was like the ball form of Samus.
It's like the exact same size and used for the same navigation tactic that you would use with.
Well, that was clever
Metois.
pickup.
What about the Choozo statues that you break? Choozo statues.
Is that
Metroid. Those are the statues.
I don't.
You know that in Metroid, have you played any of the other Metroid games?
I've played Metroid games.
So in the like SNES Metroid game, there are these statues, and they're called Choozo statues, and that's when you
I didn't realize
go
that
into
they
a
were
ball.
called.
That's what they're called. They're called Choozo statues.
Cool.
So in this game, they're called Choozo statues.
That's clever.
And instead of like
Not
getting
really, but it's funny.
getting into their arms as a ball, you just break them to get your new powers.
Huh.
Yeah, there are tons of
That's
other.
interesting.
The ones that I caught and kind of wrote. Campo Santo is one of the.
Yeah, I couldn't tell whether that was like a direct call-out reference of like, hey, we like you guys, or we worked with you guys, or something along those lines, or not, because I could also see that being like an actual place in Mexico somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Castle Crashers was in there. There was a poster.
Where?
There was a poster, and it just basically redrew the 4 Castle Crashers,
Okay.
and then had the name. I believe Mo is
I'm showing Chozo.
Mo is showing us the Choozo statue from Metroid and the comparison between the two. There's also like a Metroid like in stone somewhere throughout the game.
So I saw that, and I couldn't figure out what they were.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Mo showing that to us as well. And there's tons more. Mega Man, Majora's Mask, Batman, Viva Pinata. The Pinata store is literally called Viva Pinata.
Okay, I noticed the Viva Pinata name, but it didn't click that there was, the video game Viva Pinata.
Yeah.
The poster that I enjoyed the most was the one, it was a monkey in a puffy coat. And you can tell that this game was like made in Toronto because this was made at the time that monkey was lost in the IKEA in Toronto.
Yes, the IKEA monkey in Toronto.
that everyone photoshopped and Margot or the Margot Tenenbaum over because it looked like a still out of a Wes Anderson film.
Mm-hmm.
I'm scrolling through these Easter eggs that are placed in there, and they go on everyone. There's apparently 2 luchador posters. One of them is the Majora's Mask luchador, and he's wearing a Majora's Mask. The other one is a Mega Man, and the Majora's Mask, his name is La Mascara, and then Mega Man is Mega Hombre. Here they are. I'm showing the guys the photos.
I love it.
So this game full of great Easter eggs, tons of great Easter eggs.
And then there's the very obvious references of I wouldn't know how to pronounce it, but Calaca's pet that you end up having to bring to its demise. When you do the finishing blow, it is as if you are Mario finishing Bowser, which was incredibly obvious, but still so good to get that little wink and nod and an homage.
Because that takes thought. There are tons of side-scrolling portions in games. This is one of the first bosses that you fight is Calaca's pet dragon, is it? And
something like
that. It basically
yeah.
just takes you across a side-scrolling level. You have to quickly dart through it as it's being broken away. Mm-hmm. But like you said, there's an axe. You go to the axe, the bridge falls, and he falls into the lava. And that's when Estabe, I think is how you say her name, who is the first
Starts
major
with the
boss. Zdabe. She's very upset with you that you destroyed her and Calaca's pet.
Because she was supposed to be taking care of it or watching it.
Yep.
Yo, that pet, if you want to call it a pet, that gigantic beast of infernal awesomeness.
No, that pet reminded me of your dog.
No, he's a lot more friendly than that. But anyways, that was probably my favorite artistic piece in the entire game.
Really?
It was simple, just like a gigantic guy chasing you and you're trying to run away from it, almost like Braid, kind of how you're running away.
Right.
Yeah, but I for some reason, I think I had to do 3 times, not gonna lie. But I just thoroughly enjoyed how it looked, how it I don't know what small things they might have did in that level, but it was just very, very, very visually appealing. Mm-hmm. And that's if someone wants to look at gameplay to decide whether or not to play this game, you just have to look at that part of the game.
I loved how often this game changed up the mechanics and gave you a new new element, a new way to play. So you went from, hopping around from platform to platform to that chase sequence where you're running away, to then you get the ability to stick to the walls and jump off the walls. And each time you get a new ability, it changes up how you play the game. Not only because you now have these abilities at your fingertips, but the level design was just fantastic. They force you to think in ways that you haven't thought before to complete each section. And some of the puzzles, especially later on, get a little bit tricky. But I loved how all you have to do is think about what is the new mechanic or what is the new thing that I've learned or have been using lately, and figuring out how to apply that to the section that you're in. No, and I love that.
I needed a walkthrough to finish the entire game. There was no way. It was a similar thing we ran into, I guess me and Jacob, with Braid. I don't know how you felt about this game, but it got to the point where I'm like, I have no patience. I'm the simple. I just need. I don't want it to be too easy, but at the same time, like I'm not. I don't want to sit here for 10 minutes doing the same thing 10 times over. So I needed like guidance to kind of expedite my game.
The map was pretty good in this game.
Yeah.
And it kind of clearly, like, you don't have to tell me exactly what to do, but like a good waypoint system is all that I really need just to even point me in the right direction.
100%.
And this game had that, which I really appreciated. I only needed a walkthrough for the final boss.
Similar. There was one puzzle in the Grand Temple that I didn't know how to get through because there was different portals that you had to jump through, and I couldn't figure out how to get to the portals. And then, dummy me, I realized, there's a wall here that's flat that I can go jump off of.
We didn't touch on this, but the goat man, what was his name?
Hilarious.
Uay Chivo.
Emperor's New Groove much?
That is,
definitely.
As soon as I saw that, I thought it was because like I kind of read up about the game like before I played it, just little like I watched a video of like a review and stuff like that, and someone mentioned like Emperor's New Groove. I'm like, I knew it. Yeah,
and he had some funny dialogue too. Like
he had a ton of personality.
Yeah, I'm playing Golf Story right now, and that's a game that heavily relies on like really like quippy, funny, quick dialogue,
one-liners,
good one-liners. And this game has some of that, which I really appreciated. There was a time when later in the game when Calaca is setting up El Presidente's daughter to be sacrificed, and he's like, "Oh, here's my sacrificial virgin," and she was just like, "Well, about that," and I was like, "Oh, kids aren't gonna get this at all. This is great." Yeah. I like quippy, fast humor like that.
Be read both ways, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Like kids don't know what she's talking about, and I really
like
the
Animaniacs.
100%. Anything that Spielberg did in cartoon, like, totally agree with you. And then I really like Flameface as a character. Like, he was pretty well written.
I enjoyed the little bit of mythology that he has to drink so that way he doesn't feel the flames on his face.
I didn't catch that.
Oh, I thought that was hilarious.
That is funny.
I was like, so this is why he's drunk all the time. He's trying to numb himself from the flames that are on his face, even though his face is just a flame.
And he just throws glasses of liquor at his face. He doesn't even drink them, does he?
And every single time he pulls out his pistols to shoot you, he runs out of bullets at the moment that he aims his gun at you.
Because much like a cowboy, he before he does it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
great.
that they a lot of games try to sometimes like not take themselves too seriously, but don't do well. This was a game that didn't take itself too seriously, flat out, and executed it well every single part of the entire game.
Definitely.
Is it worth it to go through point by point? I don't think that's really where the game shines. I think it's like we just say what the major points were, maybe the boss battles, some of the powers, because you mentioned the powers and how they related to exploration, but most of the powers you could also use in combat. And you said it was nice with the level design. As you got more powers, you got to spaces in the world that you didn't realize you could actually access until you got the double jump, until you got the goat jump. But at the same time, I really loved the combat and how like your powers were affected by it. Like I got into such a nice flow when you got like the what were some of the powers? Like I just know like I'm like, oh, here's my blue
dash.
juice.
Yeah, the blue
like,
dash across.
Wasn't it like brouhaha or something? Like
I don't remember any of the names. I trust you on it though.
Yeah, but like I just called them like, oh, there's my yellow fist and there's my blue juice.
There's a standing still headbutt, which was yellow. There was the frog splash.
Olmec's
Eddie Guerrero.
headbutt.
Right, yeah.
That was the yellow
Eddie
one.
Guerrero frog splash. That was green. You would jump up from a height and then frog splash straight down. I just realized you must have really loved this because there was a ton of wrestling moves.
Go ahead, Mo.
One of the things that kind of... So me and Jacob are I guess we appreciate the
dramatics
drama of professional wrestling. Yeah, it's some of the storylines are great. Sometimes they drift off, but in general, I grew up watching wrestling. So when you guys said what's Guacamelee, I'm like platformer, and then but then I was like, okay, you know what? It looks colorful. It looks visually appealing. Wrestling, you know what? That kind of like pushed me to the tipping point to like play it. It was more goofy, like stereotypical wrestling, I guess. Then it didn't do anything for me, I guess. Like when I saw like any of the abilities, like
it is a video game
if someone
where you have superpowers and you're fighting in the land of the dead.
It was a very present day WWE, not Attitude Era WWF.
Yeah. If one of the moves was like stand in front of the guy, swing your arms around, take your elbow pad off, go to each rope and drop at people's elbow, I would have been the biggest supporter of this game. I would have had it in every bio of my social media profiles. But yeah, no, it was playful. It was too like cartoony.
Yeah, the flow that I ended up getting into a lot was I think when I did the upgrades, I ended up upgrading my pile driver because I used the pile driver a ton. Like I didn't usually throw guys because if you punch them a few times, there'd be a triangle or in your case the Y button that would come up above them and you could grab them, right?
Yeah. So
instead of throwing them, like sometimes you have to throw them because some of the enemies are like, hey, you have to throw this projectile to defeat the cactus.
Yes.
But I usually suplex the guys or pile drove the guys.
Why?
Why? Because like I upgraded my pile driver. So like if I like any skeleton, if I punched him 2 or 3 times and then pile driver, he was dead.
Okay.
Yeah. I min-maxed the game that way.
Okay. I threw everything and everyone at everyone and everyone.
That's what I did as well.
Yeah, punch, and then just as soon as I saw that Y button, throw.
If there was a ledge or lava to throw them in, they were going in. Do as little damage as I needed to, throw them in the lava, or throw them into their friends, and then throw them into the lava or off the cliff. Did you guys max out all the upgrades? No. I maxed out everything.
Because you used that suit.
Because I used that suit the whole game. I realized that I'm going to want all of these upgrades. So I will play with a slight handicap initially, learn how to get better because I'm playing with a handicap, and then bank on all of that sweet, sweet upgrade juice at the end.
What did you guys not like about this game? If there's multiple, I want to hear them all because I have a couple things.
Okay, you know what? You start then.
Okay. My biggest, I guess, gripe with this game is I've played this story before. Yes, there's a couple little quirks. It's a platformer. It looks nice, but I didn't care at all about like what was going on, where I was going, what I was doing. New ability, great. What am I doing? Go to checkpoint, beat a bunch of people, go to the next checkpoint, beat another people. There was no, like, there was new abilities, new techniques to fight, new ways to try to maneuver, the chicken, ha ha ha, laugh, laugh, laugh. But I don't know, I just didn't feel, it was almost like the Super Mario Galaxy thing I had going on where it was like I didn't care about advancing to the next stage of the game. It became almost like robotic. Not to say that it was a bad game. Like some people love platformers, some people love going side by side and like doing that stuff. The comedic value alone may be enough. But I don't know. It felt like a dull. I don't know. I don't want to say a dull game, but like there's something about it was really
lesser
boring.
than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, it was boring, repetitive, and I felt like I wasn't doing anything.
I enjoyed the story. For me, this is the typical podcast game. You put a podcast on in the background while you play. And what I enjoyed was, there's no dialogue, and the music's good and consistent. So you can just read, and if you don't want to read, it doesn't matter. The level design is fantastic, so it funnels you exactly where you need to go. You're very rarely lost. In almost, I think I might have been lost once, and it was because I was a little too curious and was trying to complete a puzzle that I didn't have the power for yet. Yeah. I totally sympathize with, this being a story that everyone's familiar with. Although I think there's a nice change up in the end, which, spoilers, like it doesn't go the way you want it to go. Yeah. You don't save the princess.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
And Juan just lives like a bachelor in pining for her until he dies. And then at the very end of the game, you see them in skeleton form together. I enjoyed that little twist because you expect Juan to get the girl.
Yeah. But again, that's 0.1% of the game.
Mm-hmm.
That is like the last minute of the game.
It is, yeah.
But I did appreciate, until you said it, I just thought like, because I thought she had died and then you died as well, and then you got married. Like I totally missed the point where they were like, oh no, he actually pined for her until. Was there more than one ending?
There might be. I only played it once on normal. When I was done, I had a runtime of 6 hours and 38 minutes, and then it said, now you've unlocked the hard difficulty. And when you complete the game, just like you get different stamina and health increases, and it shows either a heart or a skull, when you complete the game, it shows Juan's mask, and one of 3 pieces fills in, which to me says if you complete it on all of the difficulties, you unlock a bunch of different extras, which I'm sure are tucked away in there.
I think I want to continue that little statement I had. So I think another reason is probably because the rate of play.
Okay.
Like I had binged it a lot to complete it. Whereas like I feel like if I did the Michael way, where it's like, you know what, put something on the side, take her easy, I might have enjoyed it a little bit more. I might have cared to like figure out the puzzle instead of like resorting to the crutch of like looking up how do I get past this damn level.
Yeah,
I probably played it an hour, 40 minutes every day for a little over a week.
40 minutes to an hour.
40 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whereas
light gameplay, which was nice. It was really nice to just hop in, play a little bit of it, hop out when I got a little bit bored or tired.
And it's like I play a lot of games where sometimes I put in like 2, 3, 4 hours like continuously, and they keep me going. Perfect example, this is like a more recent game, but Horizon. I finished that in the past like maybe 3 or 4 weeks, but that's because like there's been some days where like I'd have like a whole day off, like a Saturday or something, and I plug it in, and like 4 hours goes by, and it was like, holy crap.
I mean, as someone who's also playing Horizon Zero Dawn right now, I think it's unfair to compare Horizon
100%. But like that's this thing where it's like maybe it might have been because I was playing it simultaneously, where it's like I don't want to play this. I want to play Horizon right now. I'm thinking about that right now that I brought it up, but that might be one of the biggest reasons why maybe I didn't have the best opinion, because I'm like, I have free time. I want to play Horizon.
Yeah, and see, I played the game in 2 chunks, which like I'd given myself 3 days to play it. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to play it 2 hours every day and then be done with it. But be done with it, that's not the right word, but like finish it. So played it 2 hours the first night, and then got to the second night, and I did a 4-hour session of the game. I just got in such a flow state with the way. Yeah, like at one point I was just like it was almost like I was operating on a whole nother level, just like above the game.
You were Neo in the Matrix.
I was, and I was just like I got in my combat flow, and I knew exactly like what powers to use when, and like just 4 hours in a blink. I finished the game in 5 hours and 59 minutes.
No way!
And like
that's amazing.
And just like again, second time I played through the game, so I don't want to.
I feel like before we started, you had said the first time you said it was somewhere around 8 hours.
Yeah, maybe it did take me 8 hours, but this time 5:59.
That's fantastic.
And the difference between this version and the original version is, and I don't know if you noticed this, but the El Trio De La Muerte, they aren't in the original Guacamelee. Like Guacamelee, did you deal with them?
That's where they were at.
They're like a trio of skeleton men that play an instrument.
So in the very first town you're in, you talk to a couple of mariachi players, and they say, our band, we're missing one of our players. We don't know what happened to him. And then when you go to the Land of the Dead, you find this mariachi band who's trying to reassemble themselves so that way they can play. And they're all in one body.
Yeah, with 3 heads. But in the regular version of Guacamelee, this character and their section is not in the game at all.
Why was it added in? Is it just like...
I don't know. I couldn't figure that out.
I appreciated the boss. I thought it was a ton of fun.
Did it feel shoved in, though?
No, I don't think
What did you guys get with this turbo version? What was there that I missed out on, I guess?
So it's this piece of the story. So this piece with the El Trio De La Muerte and their section, which... Do you remember the section of the game that they were in?
You see them early on, but you don't end up fighting them until, I think, 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah, and you go to their castle and you defeat them, which the boss battle was great. And then apart from that as well, at the end of the game, there is DLC that is essentially you go down to hell, and it's a series of challenge rooms.
Sorry, speaking of hell, was it not hilarious that this chicken comes and helps you escape and like power through this area, and then you find out later that Calaca turned the devil into a chicken, and the chicken that was helping you was the devil.
Yep.
I thought that was amazing. I thought that was like one of the best little things, because they set up this totally random moment and you're like, well, that was kind of weird, and then they explain it later and it's way better than you ever expected.
That he made that the whole reason Calaca is dead because he broke his arm the night before. Was it like a bull like fighting competition?
Something like that.
And he's like, my arm, I can't do it. So he made a deal with the devil, and the devil said, okay, you'll get your arm fixed, but like it's going to cost you. And his like he's about to accept the trophy that he wins, and his flesh melts off and he becomes Calaca. And then he eventually, like, how does he end up?
He steals power away from the devil, and he turns him into a chicken. Mm-hmm. And then as you are playing through the Land of the Dead, I believe this is after you're turned into a chicken by Calaca, this chicken comes and helps you. And you don't understand why this chicken is coming and help you. And he says, like, just know, like, we've got a common enemy or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then you find out later, this is not just a chicken.
It's the devil.
This is the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
So if you want to explore that thread a little more, after you've beaten the game, you can go down to Hell. And Hell, I guess, is like a corporation that was used to be run by the devil, but is taken over by Calaca and is completely mismanaged. And he basically, there's an office building, and in that office building, to get to the top floor, you have to beat a series of challenges set up by Calaca. And the devil is there again, being like, I used to run it so much better when I was in charge. This Calaca guy.
Did you play through the DLC?
I played through 3 or 4 of the challenges, and I was like,
cool.
You know what? I'm good. I didn't need to play it. It's not like, I think it's $3.99 or $2.99 when you like bought Guacamelee and then this.
Right.
But it comes in the Super Turbo Championship Edition.
Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that I had the DLC there.
Yeah, it's hidden away, like, and it's not obvious.
Gotcha.
You have to go looking for it.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's in a chicken, like it's in a chicken space.
Oh.
Yeah, you have to become a chicken and go down to Hell.
I enjoyed the little chicken areas, especially at the end of the game, where they just trap the red enemies who throw, bones at you, red bones. And you're a chicken that, like, your whole purpose is, like, these guys are going to be throwing stuff at you, and you need to get through this either as fast as you can or making sure you don't get hit along the way.
The enemy that came from the ground and bit you.
Like the worm flower person?
You know, remind me of, is the worm flower the Mario one?
Like the piranha plant?
Yeah. That's what it reminded me of, and that was probably the thing. If there was like a tally chart accumulating how much damage was inflicted to me, that one is like the leading champion. And like,
really?
I want to say I got better at like just avoiding it, but at the same time, that was probably what dealt the most damage to me, made me more annoyed, and I was already annoyed playing this game.
Yeah.
For me, it was the guys who made like the whirlwinds come after you.
Yeah.
At the end of the game, who either they would float above you and the whirlwind underneath you would hurt. Maybe you don't have them in your version. I know they added harder and new enemies.
And it just came in like the last 20 minutes, right? Like, it was very late.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're introducing new characters now?
But I love that they continue to introduce them. And then they would introduce older characters, but now they're stronger. And they didn't get rid of the older characters either. There would just be a greater mix of enemies that you would be playing against.
Yeah.
So for me, I found, even though you knew the best strategy to defeat each individual enemy, every time they threw a new mix at you, it was sort of like Halo, where you know how to kill some grunts, you know how to kill some elites, but it's the combination and how the level is designed that each one felt new and fresh and different. I ended up using a different strategy for each area.
It's that combat chess that Bungie does so well, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's what I appreciated too. In addition to different enemy types, they would add in things like, hey, they're going to get different colored shields. Yes. So you have to use your specific move to get rid of their shield before you can beat them. As well, we haven't spoken about, like, you can you can phase jump, I guess, between the real world and the world of the dead.
World of the living, world of the dead.
Exactly. Yeah. And with that, some of the enemies are in the world of the living and some are in the world of the dead. So sometimes when they throw enemies at you, they're like, hey, here's 4 enemies. 2 of them are on each phase. So you have to phase back and forth between the different, But
they all can hit you no matter what world they're in.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. Just the way, like, they switched, like, the different levels. That was one of and one of the few pluses in my book that kind of kept me interested, because that's something we've never seen before. And one of the things I liked about Braid before was the way it manipulated the environment and like the way it switches the worlds that way. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They would have to build two different worlds on top of each other. And I'm just thinking of like the technical, like again, I'm not a coder, Mo.
It's not that. I'm not saying it's not that complicated, but at the same time, yeah, it's simultaneous. And then it's use Photoshop.
Yeah.
Hide and remove a layer.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I'm solely thinking like if it was built in Unity. I know it wasn't, but just if it was built in Unity, it's a simple thing as calling a function to say enable,
I don't know what
disable.
this game was built in.
I don't know either.
I didn't look into it.
But what I did see in the credits, a lot of Ontario Media Development Fund and Telefilm credits, which...
For our non-Canadian friends, what is that? Because it was weird seeing that.
It was odd seeing that,
yeah.
But I had Canadian pride seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
It was, so Telefilm and the Ontario Media Development Fund are government agencies that fund arts and creative cultural products. So that way Canadians are exposed to cultural products that are more than just, whatever's coming out of the States. So that way there's a more distinct cultural identity.
Mm-hmm.
And you get stories that are representative of the Canadian experience, which I don't know how a game about Day of the Dead and luchadors or lucha libre in Mexico is a Canadian experience.
Well, we're very multicultural. Up here, so.
Like a game about Mexico made in Toronto, funded by the Canadian government. Yep, the Ontario government rather. But I mean,
both.
It funds. There you go. It funds. The Ontario Media Development Corporation has funded projects big and small. I believe Too Human at some point was probably funded by The Lone Dark, which I want to play. Looks like a great game. But it was just weird. And in the Guacamelee 2 trailer, it is prevalent and right next to Drinkbox, PS4 logo, and the Ontario Media Development Corporation.
No way.
It was so weird. I was like, I'm like one of 17 people that thinks that's really, really cool.
It is pretty cool.
We're so Canadian.
Yeah, we are. Should we talk about some of the other bosses in the game? Kind of what we liked.
El Jaguar.
I thought El Jaguar was awesome.
Jaguar Javier.
Yeah.
El Jaguar.
Jaguar Javier.
Anyways, I liked. This is just a personal reason why I liked him. When I grew up, I played at the arcade, and Tekken.
Yeah,
there was
your king.
That's El Jaguar. So I always picked King.
The wrestling Jaguar.
Really?
Yeah, I always. And then when I saw him, I'm like, oh, childhood nostalgia. I love it.
See, I was a martial law man.
That's Bruce Lee, right?
Yeah, Bruce Lee.
Yeah, no, that's one of the reasons, and the fact that he was just as cool there as he was jumping back and forth in Tekken 5 or 3 or whatever it
every
was.
Tekken game. Yeah. King's in every Tekken game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The animations on some of the boss battles were great too.
Yep. I thought some of the boss battles were kind of annoying, especially Calaca at the end.
Yeah.
Like the window that you have to hurt him before he turns into his second form is so small. I died a bunch of times before I realized, like, oh no, the window is actually just that small. I do have to hit him a second after he lands his blow.
Mm-hmm. This is his second form, right?
First form.
Okay.
His gaming mechanic reminded me of a boss I could not narrow down. It's a similar thing where you try to attack, disappears. But I can't.
I think it's a common design in boss battles.
Mm-hmm. Having your big boss be magical and powerful and disappear
every time you go to hit them and strike them.
I thought the first form was okay. Like that only took me 3 or 4 times, but it was the second form that I swear took me 25 times plus to beat it.
Yes, but I felt the second form was obvious in how you dealt damage to it. The first form was not, and that's what annoyed me.
Yeah, it's pattern recognition. That's all it is. But I didn't understand that there's really only 4 different attacks. Because I understood, okay, if a cross comes, if the lines come, just get out of the way.
Uh-huh.
If the flame bullets come at you, just roll towards them or roll away from them. But it took me a while to realize, as you smash the table, that the ground attack and the breath attack, all you need to do is duck or jump. But I didn't get the difference between them from a wind up.
Did you guys use the meteors that are falling at all?
No.
Okay. I tried using them because I'm like, there's so many here. They have to be extra damage or something. To go out of your way to not use your INTENSO and just go to town on them. They didn't do much damage. The only thing that I found they were useful for is if you didn't get out of an attack's way in time, you could hold on to one of those and be temporarily immune. But the thing is, you couldn't hold on to them long enough in most cases that you would outlive the duration of the attack.
That's what I thought you had to do for a long time before I just realized, like, hey, just jump or duck and
Right.
you'll get out of the way. I wish I would have realized that much sooner.
Yeah. Did you guys use the Intenso a lot? Your like super powerful form?
I didn't.
Me neither. I was a hoarder when it came to the Intenso that you accumulate. I was like, you never know when you're going to face a big battle that you would want it.
And mine, like, I ended up getting the upgrade for Intenso that lets you use health regen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, I'm only going to use it when it's really tough and when I need health.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I held it for. So I didn't use Intenso, like that super powerful Aztec type creature, until I needed it.
It also felt so good to use, though.
It did.
Like, the second you slip into that form, everything around you flies back.
Mm-hmm.
You're, in the language of Mo, you're going Super Saiyan 3.
Yeah, it was.
Super Saiyan.
You know what I'm saying?
What other bosses were memorable?
Flameface wasn't. Like, his
no.
battle wasn't.
The female former love interest of Calaca.
Stabe.
That's it.
Hers.
Wait, how
barely
did you
remember
pronounce
hers.
it, Michael?
I did. I read it. That's how I pronounced
And you're
it.
like that.
Yep, that's it.
Stabe?
I know that there is a character in Mexican mythology that has that name. But yeah, I have absolutely no idea how to pronounce that. Not happening.
I feel like there's a resort in Mexico that you go to like do like dolphin excursions and like jet skiing, and it's called Xterra.
Okay.
So Xterra. So I think I would call her like Stabe. Xtabe. Shoot.
Sure. I have no base of knowledge to tell you you're right or wrong.
I'm so right. Let me tell it real loud.
I'm sure you are.
I'm probably not.
Okay.
Someone's going to email and be like, you're not pronouncing it correctly. So I guess in summary, like, what do you guys think of this game?
Mo.
I still hold my position, but once again, I feel like maybe...
What is your position?
It's the fact that if you need a game to play casually, you're not too interested in like finishing it, or it's like...
If you need a video game, this is one of those.
Yeah,
So you don't ever want to beat.
No, because you can play it over a long period of time and enjoy it.
Yes.
It's not something where like, hey, I want a great experience, I want a great story, I want the best game ever. There's lots of other titles that can grab your attention. There's a lot of games that we've played on this podcast I'd kind of put ahead of this. Visually, not so much. How funny it was, not so much. But like just overall package of, you know what, game is available on sale on Steam. There's several games that in our previous podcasts that we've had that I would say buy them before you play this. And that once again, as a person who does not like platformers whatsoever, this one reinforces my case that they're not that great of games.
That sounds way harsher than I think you
Yeah.
sounded throughout the pod. Did you like your experience playing it?
It looked great. I like the puns.
Answer the question, Mo.
No.
Okay, that's all right. You don't
That's
have
fine.
to like it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed my time with it. I thought it was fantastic. I love the look of it. I love the variation in the gameplay. I love the level design. I thought the music was fun. I thought the writing was funny. And I think the reason I liked it as much as I did was because I ended up playing it over the course of a week or two.
Yeah.
And because of that, I didn't marathon it, didn't squeeze it into a tight window. I got to enjoy it casually.
Yeah.
Jacob, what was your experience? What would you say?
Again, second time playing through it, so I would say
Loved it so much you played it twice.
I did, and I'm glad that I played like the different content, because El Trio de la Muerte, like, that was a really funny addition. Those guys were funny. The boss battle, that boss battle was the best one out of all of them. There's one point where they just yell remix, and then they just become a tower of skeletons and start shooting music out. It was
totem
great.
was amazing.
The totem was great. But this game is to me like the epitome of a perfect January game, or like a perfect summer game. Like when this game, and I hate to always say like, hey, when this game is on sale, you got to get it. But like this game goes on sale pretty frequently. I think it's a great jaunt. Are there better beat 'em ups? Castle Crashers is a better beat 'em up. Are there better Metroidvania games? Yeah, Shadow Complex is real good. Super Metroid's real good. So is Metroid Fusion. But like as a whole package, I really enjoyed my time with this game, and I think I would hate it the second time playing through. But even the second time through, that combat flow that I got into was fantastic. And I just 4 hours just wasted away in the blink of an eye.
You did that.
I didn't think I'm not that guy. Like I'm not that guy that can sit there. Like sure, were the colors really hard to look at for 4 hours? A little bit, but I really like my.
I think that's a testament.
My joy with the game.
I've chimed in about my opinion about it way too much, but I think I've finalized how I feel about it. I think it's a great game. It's worth the play for a lot of people. I just didn't like it.
And that's
totally.
I think it comes down, and it's almost like I can't even specifically say why, but. And I think it's really good. Just everything you guys have said with, I've like agreed. Yeah, you're right.
It's not
great
your
point.
type of game.
Great point. And then I just didn't like it.
Okay, question. Would you play Guacamelee 2?
No.
Okay. Jacob?
I definitely would.
Me too. I'm gonna get it as soon as it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess as a final question, if you had to order something on the Taco Bell menu to go along with your playthrough of Guacamelee, what would you order? And you only get one item.
I don't know anything on the Taco Bell menu.
So you don't? Do you enjoy garbage like I do, Mo, on the Taco Bell menu?
Garbage.
Yeah, Taco Bell's just.
Love Taco Bell.
So what's your favorite menu item?
I would have to say queso. Anything with queso.
Discover fries with queso.
Queso.
I would have to get a chicken quesadilla because those are dope.
No. You haven't lived until you've had that gordita crunch, cuz.
Did you hear about the double dilla? This is a new thing they're doing?
No, I have not.
I think it's
like inspired by J Dilla?
No. It has nothing to do with J Dilla.
So I've done this little vegetarian thing the past like almost year now. So I haven't had Taco Bell in a while. So I'm kind of being a faker right now. I wouldn't order anything from Taco Bell. Sorry.
The double dilla is steak and chicken quesadilla together.
Gotcha. I'm not interested.
Yeah, it's probably really bad for you. Anyway, that's the episode of Guacamelee. Let's do the wrapping up business. Maybe talk about the next game that we're gonna play. Can I do that?
Yeah, go for it.
Great. The next game we're going to play is Warhammer: The End Times Vermintide. It was the free game on Xbox Live in the month of December. You can pick it up on any platform you like. Mm-hmm. It's co-op. You can play it with us. We're launching that episode in 2 weeks as of the launch of this episode. So on January 24th, I believe is the date.
Yeah.
Michael, what's the other stuff that we got to talk about?
Well, I think the one of the most pressing things is if you enjoyed this podcast, if you thought it was, half decent, if you thought, it was pretty good, you should probably go to iTunes or your podcast platform fetcher of choice and give us a 5-star review. And then let everyone know in your comment explaining why you gave it 5 stars. The sexy dulcet tones of the 3 hosts. Could be our fantastic hot takes. Could be our optimal choice of game selection. There are a wide variety of reasons, but we want to hear yours. And then, Mo, what else can the people do?
You can follow us on social media. You can find us at Left Behind Club on Twitter. We also have a fancy little website where you can catch up on any episode you haven't seen. If this is your first episode, feel free to check out the other pods we have available for you at leftbehindgame.club. And if you have some suggestions or something else you wanted to do, you can also leave us a comment on there and send us an email at questions@leftbehindgame.club.
Jacob, where can the people find you at?
They can find me on the internet. No, actually, right now they can't find me on the internet because I'm doing a smartphone cleanse. But if you want to find me in the month of February...
Send a raven.
Send the raven.
Smoke signals won't make it.
Nevermore, said the raven. You can find me on social media at Jacob McCourt on pretty much everything. JacobMcCourt.com. If you're curious about what I'm doing where I'm not using a cell phone for an entire month, or a smartphone rather, you can find that. I wrote something about it at JacobMcCourt.com. Just a selfless plug. Mo, where can the people find you?
Find me at Murtadi everywhere online. Still available on the internet. You don't need to use a raven.
And you can find me at Ruffolo M, RUFFOLOM, on most social media platforms. And that, my friends, is one less game left behind.
Cue music!